AOC strafes AOC. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, from 1942, 1944, about 70% of Munich was flattened by Allied aerial attacks. The devastation was breathtaking. The old city was left smoldering. But last week in Munich, we saw a different type of obliteration. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez carpet-bombed herself, just by speaking.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a, this is of course a very long-standing policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation.
Okay. Now, that reminded me of a high school student who did none of the work and then, when called on, tries to kind of buffalo her way or his way through a question, let's say about the Industrial Revolution.
Okay. The Industrial Revolution, to me, is just like a story I know called The Puppy Who Lost His Way. The world was changing, and the puppy was getting bigger. So you see, the puppy was like industry.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Now, didn't you feel that way watching AOC in Munich? But this is funny in the movies, but it's not so funny in real life when decisions matter. But it took this Munich trip for most of America to realize that AOC didn't do the reading. Now, why? Because she's never been challenged. Now, as they did with Kamala Harris, the press spent years protecting AOC. She catapulted her way to political stardom by acing Instagram and TikTok. But then by cocooning her, the media didn't really do her any favors because now everyone knows she's failing, not only geopolitics, but economics too.
So when you run for president, are you going to impose a wealth tax or a billionaire's tax?
I don't think that I don't think that anyone, and that we don't have to wait for any one president to impose a wealth tax. I think that it needs to be done expeditiously.
Expeditiously. It's a big word. Now, every day is like a final exam when you're on the international stage, or really the national stage, it should be, because you either know it or you don't. Now, imagine a debate between her and Marco Rubio, because when he's asked questions, he can actually answer them with nuance and facts.
There will be, in about 2 months' time, a summit meeting between President Trump and President Xi Jinping. Give us your expectation.
Because we're two large countries with huge global interests, our national interests will often not align. Their national interest and ours will not align, and we owe it to the world to try to manage those as best we can, obviously avoiding conflict, both economic and worse. We have to have a relationship with China, always understanding that nothing that we agree to could come at the expense of our national interest.
Exactly. He laid it out perfectly. Or imagine AOC debating Vance.
At this point, how confident are you in going the diplomatic route?
The president's told his entire senior team that we should be trying to cut a deal that ensures the Iranians don't have a nuclear weapon. But if we can't cut that deal, then there's another option on the table. So I think the president's going to continue to preserve his options. He's going to have a lot of options because we have the most powerful military in the world. But until the president tells us to stop, we're going to engage in these conversations and try to reach a good outcome through negotiation.
Meanwhile, the Democrats' primary queenmaker, AOC, couldn't master basic sixth-grade geography when talking about Maduro being arrested by the U.S. in Venezuela.
He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator.
Below the equator. Time to study a map, AOC. That can be confusing, the equator, north, south. Now, the posts reacting to this on X have been absolutely hilarious. Our friend Nick Sorter posted, "None of Venezuela is south of the equator. Please run in 2028, AOC." Jason Jones said, in AOC's defense, if you turn the map upside down, Venezuela is below the equator. Paul Sizepula posted, AOC is below intelligent. Oh, that's me. But as we always suspected, her base of knowledge is very thin. She's very charismatic. She seems quite fun. But if you want to be a real influencer and not just a TikTok influencer, you have to do real homework on the issues. You need to study. Then you need to think. And then you need to study more. But she never did. Because who wants to study? It's no fun. So what does a damsel in distress do when she's in trouble? She runs to the New York Times for a bailout. She told them, look, she didn't go to Munich because she's running for president at all. She went because she's sounding the alarm. She's worried about runaway inequality and far-right populist movements. Yeah, right. Look, they've run cover for her for so long at the New York Times, so why stop now? But the Democrats' bench we see here is very, very shallow. Remember, she was a bright light. Meanwhile, the Republicans with Trump in office, man, they've assembled a line of impressive, brilliant thinkers who work hard, know a lot, and study when they need to know more. They're innovative thinkers. And they're the only real champions of the middle class that AOC only pretends to care about. But for now, you can cross AOC off the list for 2028. And that's the angle.
Blue states now notorious for having major budget woes, but now that dysfunction is now working its way down to the local level. New York City Mayor Zoran Kami Marxist Mamdani is finding out the hard way that his city is spending way beyond their means because he wants to spend a whopping $127 billion, which, by the way, is more than the entire budget for this free state of Florida that I live in, and he's staring down a massive budget deficit, and he has a brilliant solution to fix it. Raise taxes, of course. Now, Zoran wants to see property tax rates in the city increase by almost 10%, which, of course, will almost certainly lead to similar rent increases and probably more mass migration. But that is only a Band-Aid. Zoran really wants a major tax hike on the wealthy, but Governor Hochul, so far, is not super keen on driving more tax revenue out of the state. So she's throwing Zoran a bone, an extra $1.6 billion to hold him over for now. For now, keywords. But what does he need more money for anyway? Well, just a few small things, $33 billion for pensions, debt service, plus an extra billion for illegals, another $30 billion for social services. New Yorkers, you're getting exactly what you voted for. Congratulations.
Good evening, everyone. So today is Fat Tuesday, or what Governor Pritzker calls Tuesday. On a recent podcast, former President Barack Obama claimed aliens were real, but he hasn't seen them. Well, that would make sense if they always probe me from behind. A new bill in Colorado is pushing to legalize prostitution. Here's a look at the bill. So easy. You people! Why? All right.
Well played.
CNN anchor Anderson Cooper is leaving 60 Minutes. It's rumored that Don Lemon is trying to fill his opening. And he wants his job, too. But see, it seems CBS is hoping to replace Anderson with someone who's more lively. Boy. During her trip to Munich, AOC was asked how the U.S. should respond to a Taiwan invasion, and she could barely answer the question. In fact, she froze so badly, Mitch McConnell asked if she was okay.
Wow.
In Munich, Hillary Clinton admitted that illegal immigration has been, quote, disruptive, but added that if anyone becomes a problem, you can just kill them. In a recent speech, President Trump said that the 60-ton M1 Abrams tank was named after Stacey Abrams.
Hilarious.
It's not unbelievable since she also has killed thousands of men by being on top. Excuse me. According to a report, Eric Swalwell once wrote an erotic poem when he was in college. We're just finding out about it now because it was written in Mandarin. Rosie O'Donnell recently returned from Ireland to secretly visit the U.S. While she claims she didn't tell anyone, authorities were tipped off by thousands of Bigfoot sightings. And finally, happy birthday to Paris Hilton, who turns 45. Yeah, that's 29 in doggy-style years. All right, so this week is the 35th anniversary of the only horror film ever to win the Oscar for Best Picture. No, not Thelma and Louise. Hey. Although that scary flick did show what happens when you let women drive. No, I'm talking about Silence of the Lambs. And now one of the stars apologized for the role that made him famous. Ted Levine played cross-dressing serial killer Buffalo Bill, who murdered women so he could wear their skin. I mean, even though it's cheaper just to buy it from Al Roker. Levine denounced the role, saying, quote, "I'm a lot wiser about trans issues. There are some lines in that script and movie that are unfortunate. It's just over time and having gotten aware and worked with trans folks and understanding a bit more about the culture and the meaning of gender. It's unfortunate that the film vilified that, and it's effing wrong." So the actor apologized for his character making trans people seem nuts, when he really should have said that the movie made serial killers look like a bunch of weirdos. One of the producers also crapped on the film, saying, "We weren't sensitive enough to the stereotypes and their ability to harm." Yeah, because the fictional character of a serial killer reflects badly on people who share the same traits as a fictional serial killer. So I guess Christian Bale owes an apology for making investment bankers look bad in American Psycho, Robert Englund for making janitors look bad in Nightmare on Elm Street, and Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct for making sluts look crazy. That is a terrible stigma to this day. But remember, Ted Levine is just an actor. He didn't write Silence of the Lambs, he just spit out the words. So who the hell is he to disown it? It's like a woke undergrad apologizing for singing Brown Sugar at karaoke, you know, when they meant to say sugar of color. But now you apologize, Ted. Great. Why not return all the money you made from that career boost, or the fame and the appearance fees for showing up at Comic-Con? Give back the sex with all the women not hot enough to get Anthony Hopkins. That chance. He's like Billie Eilish talking about stolen land. Neither are going to give up their house. But we've seen this before. Sarah Silverman apologized for jokes told earlier in her career. Hank Azaria for voicing Apu on The Simpsons. Jack Black and Gwyneth Paltrow did the same over the movie Shallow Hal. They're all generational cowards, throwing the past under the bus to appease today's no-talent whiners. Thank goodness Mickey Rooney isn't alive to apologize for breakfast at Tiffany's. The man was a genius. Bet you didn't know that was him. And how lame are they to think that today's standards are superior to those of the past? Why is that? Because today a man can pretend he's the opposite sex and get a trophy in women's swimming? But if you truly believe current standards rule, then how long before those are outdated too? In 2046, some kid with a Neuralink chip in his head might look at you and say, "How the hell could your generation not define what a woman is?" And you'll say, "Don't ask me, I voted for Trump." But while Ted's apologizing for a fictional trans killer, in the real world, we got real ones. 2 deadly shootings in 2 weeks. But instead of abandoning this mania, the elites keep polishing the delusion. Rachel Levine will be the keynote speaker at the American College Health Association. And to speak on what exactly? How to make your balls pass for a camel toe? Fool me once. I don't think anybody's going to be saying that on Outnumbered tomorrow.
Emily, what do you think about it?
In Munich, Hillary moderated a panel on women's rights where she featured Sarah McBride, a dude who identifies as a woman. And that's taking the spot from an actual woman. But maybe they want men in charge of women. After all, you put women in charge of women, what do you get? Female Ghostbusters. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She talks so fast her tonsils set off speed cameras. Co-host of Outnumbered, Emily Campagno. His beard is a great place to store leftovers. Chef and restaurant owner Andrew Gruel. He looks like the guy who rounds up shopping carts in the parking lot. Comedian Ben Bacon. And what you call a telephone pole, he calls a Q-tip. Former NWA World Champion and host of Planet Tyrus podcast, Tyrus. Tyrus, I'm going to go out of order here because you
What? He's not even black. This is awesome. Yes. Making history in Black History Month.
How do you know?
What do you, okay, you know this movie backwards and forwards.
Back and forward. And
I had no idea the guy was trans.
he wasn't trans.
Yeah.
His pathology was 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
He covets.
Yes.
He sees them and he covets them. He doesn't want to dress like them. He wants to wear them. It's a little different. He's not putting on a little ambrosia and a wig. He's wearing human flesh. I don't think that's they're literally, Anthony Hopkins gives it away. Quid pro quo. No, think, what does he want? He's trans. No, he's not trans because trans are passive. They don't look for confrontation. They're meek. With his pathology is 1,000 times worse, Clarice. Oh, yeah. You mean that big fat person? It puts the lotion in the basket. It put the lotion in the basket. So that was because he wanted to do what? Skin. If anything, we should go after him for fat shaming.
Yes.
He was taking fat women, putting them in a hole on a speed diet, and then he skinned them. I don't think at any time he ever said to them, you know what a woman is? You know.
And by the way, I don't think that works as a diet plan, but I'm just going out on a
No, that's why she saw all the nails from the other chubby ones that were hungry and stuff.
But you know what you're saying, which is interesting? Ted Levine is actually the one on trans.
Yes,
by making the relationship between.
He covets. He coveted it. He coveted women, so he killed them because he was he didn't know what. There was no answer for what Wild Bill was.
Yeah.
He mimicked a lot of different things. So again, if you're gonna do that, at least it's in the movie.
Yes, and they did. This is what kills me, Ben, is that, like, Levine didn't write the book. It was written by Thomas Harris? I think he wrote it. It's like, how can you disown it? Is your phone going off?
Sorry, there's a lot of pressure in that chair.
I got some serial killing to do later. Yeah, I mean, it's weird that it's all about, oh, now we further understand trans culture. And it's like, so what's trans culture? Shooting up an arena?
Yeah.
You know? No, but I mean, I'm serious. What is trans culture? Is it going to the wrong bathroom? Is it terrorizing the, Planet Fitness women's change room? What exactly is it?
Do you know what's funny about it? Is that before it was seen as a civil right, that never had to be a question. Like, trans people just lived anonymously. You could tell who they were in a bar. Nobody cared. But once it became a civil rights issue, then it became a culture. And then we were like, well, what is the culture?
Well, the culture is about, being who you truly are.
Yes.
And being who you truly are inside. And that's what we have. But, we have to respect that. But what about who I truly am? I'm a logical, rational person that knows what gender I am.
Yeah.
And that's apparently, the worst case scenario.
Yeah, in fact, you would be considered a transphobe. I noticed this, Andrew, that even after the shootings, there were people saying, like, this is just going to cause a reactionary transphobia. What did you think about the families that were killed by the...
They never think about the actual victims. That's what this comes down to. First of all, I have to say this and preface it. I was never allowed to watch Silence of the Lambs as a kid. And after watching Tyrus's rendition of it, now I know why.
Being
was good.
It was scary.
Thank you.
Being a chef, it must be hard to watch Silence of the Lambs because the primary character is a cannibal. It might give you ideas.
Not just a cannibal, but do you know that the sale of ground lamb burgers after this movie came out just dropped? Nobody thinks about the lamb industry.
Yeah.
Right? All they think about is the trans industry. What about trans lambs? Right? And then subsequently, for people who like words, what about Trans Ams?
Yes.
Yeah. So nice. I don't know, but I will say, why are we relitigating a movie from 40 years ago? Are we going to start relitigating Casablanca, Gone with the Wind? Mm-hmm. And then furthermore, why do the Democrats always have to support the person who's doing the killing and not the person that was killed?
Yeah.
They're always on the wrong side of every single issue. You go to a casino and they're gambling, right? Mm-hmm. Pritzker, perhaps.
Yeah.
Always bet against what the Pritzker or the Democrat is going to be putting their money on.
Yeah. Well, doesn't Pritzker have a sibling that is also trans, which is why he's like...
Oh, no, he's skinnier.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Greg, may I ask the chef a question?
Yes.
Chef, does liver and fava beans actually go together? Does that work?
With Chianti, remember?
I mean, I'll give them that. That was a really good flavor combination.
Okay, cool. All right, go ahead. Sorry, Greg.
Emily, you also often quote this movie in a very... You like the music. You're probably the only woman that talks about the music.
I love this movie so much, and also Shallow Hal. I feel like 8 of my favorite movies.
You would love Shallow Hal. Bullying a fat lady is your dream.
Because I eat like she does. All right, so first of all, you're absolutely right. This character was written in the book as an amalgam of many serial killers. It was based on a specific one that held women captive in his basement, on another as well that skinned his victims, and that was Ed Gein, I believe. And then there was also on Ted Bundy, who lured his victims by faking an injury.
Yes.
So you are right that the phobia, in my opinion, it's just like the veiled racism that we talk about with all these things, is them automatically assuming that's a transgender individual and automatically assuming it's part of the culture. Like, isn't the whole idea that all of these people seek to be unique and not lumped in with everyone else? So why should we A, ascribe a whole culture to them, and B, assume anything? And if they would even have gone to the book, they would have seen, oh, this was based on a kaleidoscope of actual serial killers, so it has nothing to do with trans. Everything has to be about them. And going back to that panel you mentioned with McBride, the trans person, and Hillary Clinton, you know what the title of that was, by the way?
Yes.
Girls Just Want to Have Fundamental Rights, Fighting the Global Pushback. Bitch, that is exactly what girls are actually wanting. Real girls. Real girls, not fake girls.
I thought you were going to make fun of the title being Girls Just Want to Have Fundamental Change. Oh. Yeah, it's like they just want to... But you know what you made me think? Like, in the future, when AI robots are super intelligent, they're going to come after all the people that did anti-robot movies, right? They're going to go like, they're going to start going like all the science fiction movies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. They're all going to be the first to go. That's why James Cameron did Terminator 2. To make the Terminator robot good, just to save his own skin.
And Avatar 74.
Yes.
Maybe if they made the movies more transphobic, more people would watch them like they used to. maybe they'd even win an Oscar.
Yeah, that's true.
I just find it hilarious that they had to go 40 years back to find a movie to bitch about the trans thing. Yeah. And it's not like Buffalo Bill is like a pariah or he's part of the culture. Like, they don't wear shirts like, what would Buffalo Bill do? You know what I'm saying? Like, when in doubt, skin it.
There's a good trans character in a B movie called Freebie and the Bean. Nope, I got one guy that recognized it. At the end of the movie, I don't know who it is, James Caan gets in a fight in a bathroom with this trans dude who knows karate. Oh, it's so good. But I digress, and I reveal something about me that's a bit troubling.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.